So hey guys, this is your favorite fictional vortex. So in this video, we will see what if Naruto was the forgotten dragon sage, the god who commanded all elemental dragons, Naruto x Ophis x Irina, DXD. But before we start, remember to subscribe and like this video. Now let's start. Chapter 1. The Awakening Sage. The ancient seal shat, read with a sound that existed beyond human hearing, a cosmic fracture reverberating across dimensions rather than mere physical space. Deep beneath Kuo town, in a cavern untouched by mortal hands for millennia, golden light spilled from intricate patterns etched into obsidian walls. The symbols, neither kanji nor any recognized human script, pulsed with increasing urgency as hairline cracks spread through the chamber's foundations. In the center of this forgotten sanctum lay a crystalline sarcophagus, its surface clouded by time yet still radiating a subtle power that had kept curious supernatural entities at bay for ages. The crystal sang, a single, perfect note sustained beyond the endurance of any earthly instrument, before shattering outward in a controlled explosion that left not a single fragment on the chamber floor. Where the sarcophagus had stood, a figure now hovered several inches above the ground. Blonde hair, longer than in another life, framed features both familiar and strange. 3 whisker-like marks adorned each cheek, but subtle scales glinted beneath his skin when struck by the ambient light. His clothing, once ornate robes depicting dragons in flight across a star-filled sky, had deteriorated into tatters that clung to a frame that appeared deceptively human. Naruto Uzumaki opened eyes that flashed between cerulean blue and vertical slitted pupils of molten gold. Where? His voice cracked from disuse, the sound echoing strangely in the chamber as though multiple voices spoke at once, some human, others distinctly not. He descended slowly until bare feet touched the cold stone floor. The contact sent shockwaves of information through his system, geological data, ley line configurations, dimensional coordinates, that his fragmented consciousness struggled to process. Memories cascaded through his mind like broken glass, sharp, disconnected, dangerous. A valley of colossal dragons bowing before him. A council chamber where beings of immense power argue. As reality itself trembled at their words. A betrayal that tore the sky asunder. The sensation of his essence being scattered across multiple planes of existence. The pain of remembering drove him to his knees. Who am I? He whispered, though part of him already knew. Not the whole truth. That remained frustratingly elusive, but enough to understand he was more than human. More than mortal, more, even the sum of the fragmented memories currently reassembling themselves in his mind. A name surfaced from the depths of his consciousness. Naruto. It felt right, yet incomplete. Like a single facet of a complex gem. The chamber trembled as the seal's dissolution continued to ripple outward. Ancient magic, no longer sustained, began collapsing the pocket dimension that had housed his prison. He needed to leave. Naruto staggered toward what instinct told him was the exit, a seemingly solid wall that rippled like water as he approached. He passed through without resistance, emerging into a natural cavern system that felt jarringly ordinary after the metaphysical complexity of his prison. Breathing deeply, he detected scents that triggered more memory fragments, forests he'd once walked, mountains he'd once shaped, oceans he'd once calmed. The air here carried unfamiliar pollutants, but beneath them lay the essence of a world he somehow knew was his responsibility. Following instincts older than human civilization, Naruto navigated the underground passages. His movements became more fluid with each step as his body remembered its capabilities. By the time he reached the sarcophagus, emerging from a hidden opening in a wooded area, he moved with the silent grace of a predator. Moonlight bathed the clearing, and Naruto tilted his head back to study the night sky. The constellations had shifted from what he remembered. Significantly, he'd been imprisoned far longer than he'd initially suspected. How many millennia? He murmured, voice steadier now but still carrying that strange multitonal quality. The stars offered no answer, but their configurations suggested at least 5,000 years had passed. Perhaps more. A sudden awareness prickled at his consciousness, the sensation of being observed. Not by human eyes, but by something that existed partially outside conventional reality. Something ancient, something powerful, something draconic. Naruto didn't turn. I know you're there. Your concealment might work on lesser beings, but not on me. He spoke with quiet authority, the words carrying power despite their softness. The air behind him distorted as space itself seemed to fold. A small figure stepped through the resulting gap, a girl with gothic clothing and eyes that contained endless darkness. The infinite dragon god, Naruto said, accessing knowledge he hadn't realized he possessed. Ophis. The girl's expression remained neutral, but surprise flickered briefly in those bottomless eyes. You remember me. Not a question. Fragments only, Naruto admitted. Your essence is familiar, but context eludes me. Ophis tilted her head slightly. You are not what I expected. Less and more simultaneously. What did you expect? The dragon sage died. All records confirmed this. Yet here you stand, diminished but undeniably alive. She circled him slowly, studying him with ancient eyes. The balance shifts with your return. Naruto frowned. Dragon Sage. That title resonates. It should. It was yours for eons before the betrayal. Ophis stopped her circling. The dragons of this world have forgotten their true master. The one who gave them form from primordial chaos. The one who established the hierarchies. The one who commanded elements beyond the comprehension of lesser beings. Each word struck Naruto like physical blows, unlocking further memory fragments. A throne carved from a mountain peak. Dragons of every element bowing before him. Commands that shaped reality itself. I was a god. The concept felt simultaneously foreign and intimately familiar. You were the god to Dragonkind, Ophis corrected. Before Great Red. Before me. Before any of the current dragon kings. A ghost of emotion. Something Almo's. Tea-like respect. Crossed her usually impassive features. The forgotten one. Erased from history by those who feared your return. Naruto's head pounded as contradicting memories battled for dominance. He remembered being human. A ninja from Konoha. A Jinchuriki. A boy who dreamed of becoming Hokage. But alongside these memories existed others. Commanding legions of elemental dragons, shaping continents with a gesture. Establishing cosmic laws that governed draconic society. 2 sets of memories, he muttered. 2 different lives. 2 aspects of the same existence, Ophis countered. The human vessel was merely your latest incarnation. A necessary disguise after your powers were sealed and your divine essence scattered. Before Naruto could respond, a disturbance rippled through the natural energy of the forest. Someone, multiple someones, approached rapidly from the north. Supernatural entities, not human. Their auras burned with malice. We have company, he noted, straightening. Despite his confusion, combat instincts remained sharp. Ophis nodded. Devils. Lower class, but numerous. They will have sensed the seal breaking. She showed no concern. I could eliminate them. No. Naruto stepped forward, curious about his current capabilities. I need to understand what I can still do. The first attackers burst into the clearing, 8 figures with leathery wings and glowing eyes. They halted upon seeing Naruto and Ophis standing calmly in the moonlight. Well, what have we here? The apparent leader stepped forward, a tall male with crimson hair and an aristocratic bearing that failed to mask his essential vulgarity. A human and a child out for a midnight stroll. Naruto assessed them quickly. The leader possessed moderate power, perhaps mid-class devil by current standards. The others were cannon fodder. None presented any real threat. You've made a miscalculation, Naruto stated calmly. Leave now, and I'll overlook the interruption. The devils laughed in unison. The sound grating against Naruto's enhanced hearing. Cocky human. Do you know what happens to your kind when they wander into devil territory after dark? The leader generated a sphere of dark energy that crackled with malice. We're feeling generous though. Entertain us, and perhaps we'll make your death quick. Naruto sighed, disappointed by their predictable arrogance. I gave you a chance. He moved. Not with shinobi speed, but with something beyond physical limitation. One moment he stood beside Ophis, the next he was directly before the leader, hand extended casually to catch the devil's energy sphere. The dark magic sputtered and died against his palm. Impossible. The devil hissed, leaping backward. No human can. Your first mistake, Naruto interrupted, was assuming I'm human. A pulse of golden energy emanated from his core, not chakra as he'd once known it, but something more primal. More ancient. The clearing illuminated with light that seemed to bypass physical space, revealing the true nature of all present. The devil's forms wavered, showing the corruption at their cores. Ophis's childlike appearance dissolved momentarily, revealing her infinite serpentine nature. And Naruto himself. Golden scales shimmered beneath his skin, and the air around him distorted as reality struggled to contain something far greater than his apparent form. The devils fell to their knees, instinctive terror overriding their arrogance. All except the leader, who snarled and launched himself forward in desperate aggression. Die, whatever you are. Naruto didn't dodge, he simply raised his hand. And the natural energy of the surrounding forest responded. The ground beneath the devil liquefied then solidified in an instant, trapping him mid-lunge. Fire elements, heed my call. Naruto whispered, the words emerging instinctively. A tiny spark materialized above his palm, no larger than a firefly. The devils who had remained frozen in fear began to laugh nervously. That's it, a parlor trick, the trapped leader sneered. The spark pulsed once, then unfolded into a dragon no larger than a house cat, scales gleaming like burnished copper, eyes containing the heat of 1,000 forges. It regarded Naruto with unmistakable recognition. Master, after so long, your call still reaches the fire domains. Asterisk. The voice didn't travel through air but directly into Naruto's consciousness. Connection established. He felt the dragon's essence, a fragment of primordial fire, one of countless such beings he had once commanded. I request a demonstration, Naruto said softly. Nothing lethal, a warning only. The miniature dragon bobbed its head in acknowledgement before turning toward the devils. It inhaled, a motion that seemed to draw heat from the surrounding area, then exhaled a precisely controlled stream of flame that circled each devil without touching them. The fire formed complex symbols around their bodies, binding them in constraints of pure energy. These are the ancient marks of draconic judgment, Naruto explained, knowledge flowing through him from some deep reservoir of memory. They identify you as having trespassed against the natural order. Other dragons will see them and know your transgression. The leader struggled against his earthen prison, panic replacing arrogance. What are you? Naruto considered the question. What was he? The fragments hadn't cohered into a complete answer yet. But he knew enough. I am the one who established the covenant between dragons and the elements. I am the one who taught the First worms to breathe fire and command storms. Golden light flared in his eyes. I am the dragon sage. And you have interrupted my awakening. The title resonated with truth as he spoke it, unlocking further memories. Centuries spent in meditation within a mountain forge, communing with the essence of Dragonkind, establishing the laws that would govern their existence long after humans evolved from primitive ancestors. The small fire dragon circled Naruto's shoulders, its presence gradually strengthening as their connection deepened. Your power returns slowly, Master. The seal damaged your essence. You will need time to recover your true strength. Asterisk. Release us. One of the lesser devils found his voice, though it trembled. We serve Lord Phoenix. He'll destroy you for this humiliation. Naruto tilted his head. Phoenix. The immortal bird clan who borrowed Phoenix Flame from the fire dragons. Another memory clicked into place. Their immortality was a gift from my third conclave. A reward for services rendered during the elemental wars. The devils exchanged confused glances, their fear momentarily overridden by bewilderment. Impossible, the leader muttered. The Phoenix Claw, N's regeneration ability dates back to before recorded devil history. Because I predate your history, Naruto replied simply. He gestured, and the earth released its grip. The fiery constraints dissolved simultaneously. Go, tell your masters what you witnessed here. Tell them the dragon sage has awakened. Those with the wisdom to remember what that means will understand the implications. The devils scrambled backward, none willing to press their luck further. Within moments, they had vanished into the darkness of the forest. Ophis, who had observed the entire exchange without expression, approached Naruto. You revealed yourself quickly. A calculated risk, Naruto answered, watching the fire dragon continue to orbit his shoulders. Information travels. Those who have reason to my return will now be forced to act hastily. Their responses will reveal them. Clever, Ophis acknowledged, though you remain significantly weakened. For now, Naruto glanced at the tiny dragon. What is your designation? Little one. Asterisk Kerkiras, Master. 15th Ember of the Sunforge Clutch. Asterisk. Kerkiras, Naruto repeated, the draconic name feeling natural on his tongue. You've grown since I last saw your kind. The fire domains changed in your absence. Many bloodlines died out, others evolved. The hierarchy fractured. Asterisk. Naruto nodded grimly. I suspected as much. The seal W, as designed to remove me from the cosmic equation entirely. Without guidance, the elemental domains would naturally destabilize. A sudden spike of pain lanced through his head, bringing him to one knee. More memories flooded in, this time from his human life. Konoha in flames. A desperate battle against overwhelming odds. Sacrifice. Sealing. The nine-tailed fox merging with his essence as dimensions collapsed. Ophis watched dispassionately. Your incarnation's battle for dominance. The human vessel and the divine essence must reconcile. Kurama. Naruto gasped, the name surfacing from the maelstrom of memory. Where is the fox? The nine-tailed entity is part of you now, Ophis stated. When dimensions merged during your sealing, your essences could not be separated. It sleeps within, neither fully independent nor fully absorbed. Another fragment clicked into place. Kurama had sacrificed himself during that final battle, merging his chakra permanently with Naruto's to prevent complete dissolution of his friend's existence. The act had unexpected consequences when it collided with Naruto's true nature as the Dragon Sage. The pain subsided gradually as Naruto forced his breathing to stabilize. I need to understand this world. How it's changed. Current power structures. Potential allies. He looked at Ophis. Why did you seek me out? What do you want from the Dragon Sage? Want? Ophis considered the question. I exist in the dimensional gap, seeking silence from Great Red's presence. Your awakening creates possibilities. The original architect of draconic real it. Why might reshape what has become unbalanced? Before Naruto could press further, Kerkuris suddenly tensed. Master, another approaches. Not devil, different essence. Asterisk. Naruto sensed it too, a presence moving quickly through the forest. This aura carried light rather than darkness, holiness rather than corruption, but beneath that purity lay unmistakable lethality. An angel, Ophis identified. One of heaven's field operatives. Hostile, uncertain, but heaven would have sensed your awakening as well. They may consider you a threat to the current order. Naruto rose to his feet, steadier now. Then let's not appear threatening. Kerkuris, return to the fire domain for now. I'll summon you when needed. The tiny dragon bowed its head. As you command, Master. It folded in upon itself, becoming once again a mere spark before vanishing entirely. You would face an angel unarmed? Ophis questioned, something almost like curiosity in her voice. Naruto smiled faintly. I'm never unarmed, and I prefer to avoid unnecessary conflict. The diplomatic instincts of both Hokage and Dragon Sage aligned on this point. Will you stay or depart? I will observe, Ophis decided, stepping back into the shadows where her presence became nearly undetectable. Your interactions with the current factions interest me. The angel burst into the clearing moments later, landing in a combat stance with a light sword manifested and ready. Her chestnut hair was tied in twintails, and her expression conveyed determination tinged with uncertainty. She wore what appeared to be a modified exorcist uniform that allowed freedom of movement while maintaining modesty. Halt in the name of heaven, she declared, voice steady despite the apprehension evident in her violet eyes. Identify yourself, supernatural entity. Naruto raised his hand slowly in a universal gesture of non-aggression. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. He opted for partial truth. I've recently awakened after a long absence from this world. The angel didn't lower her weapon, but her head tilted slightly in confusion. Your aura doesn't match any known species. Not devil, not fallen, not yokai. Her eyes narrowed. What are you? It's complicated. Naruto replied honestly. I'm still determining that myself. But I intend no harm to heaven or its representatives. She studied him intently, and Naruto realized. She was significantly younger than she initially appeared, perhaps in her late teens by human reckoning, though angels aged differently. Her power level suggested she was no ordinary field agent. I am Irina Shido, she finally stated. Ace of Michael Sama and emissary of Heaven's fourth sphere. A massive energy discharge was detected in this area, energy unlike anything in our records. The light sword wavered slightly. Was that your doing? Yes, Naruto acknowledged. The seal containing me broke down. It was somewhat dramatic. Seal. Irina's expression shifted to curiosity despite her professional demeanor. You were sealed away. By whom? Another memory fragment surfaced. A council chamber where beings of immense power argued as dragons roared outside. Betrayal in the eyes of those he'd trusted. A complex sealing array drawing on power from multiple pantheons. By those who feared what I represented, Naruto answered, the pain of that betrayal surprisingly fresh. It was long ago. The perpetrators are likely long gone. Irina frowned, clearly torn between protocol and curiosity. You should come with me. Michael-sama will want to question you directly. I'm afraid that's not possible right now. Naruto said gently. I've just regained my freedom after millennia of imprisonment. I need to understand what's become of the world before I place myself under anyone's authority, even an archangel's. The light sword brightened as Irina's resolve firmed. That wasn't a request. Naruto sighed. Despite his preference for diplomacy, the angel's insistence was problematic. He couldn't allow himself to be taken to heaven. Not yet, not while so vulnerable and uninformed. Before either could act, a new disturbance shattered the standoff. The forest to their east plotted in dark energy as more devils appeared, at least 20, significantly more powerful than the previous group. At their head stood a woman with long black hair and eyes that glowed with malevolent purpose. Well, she purred, wings extending to their full impressive span. The rumors spread quickly. A mysterious being of great power, newly awakened. Her gaze shifted between Naruto and Irina. And heaven sent just one little angel. How disappointing. Irina pivoted smoothly, placing herself between Naruto and the new threat. Belial faction, she identified, her voice hardening. Quote, this area is under temporary heavenly jurisdiction pending investigation. The devil woman laughed. How convenient. You declare jurisdiction over exactly what my mistress wishes to acquire. Her eyes fixed on Naruto. Come with us willingly, stranger, and we'll ensure you're treated as an honored guest rather than a specimen. Naruto assessed the situation rapidly. These devils were higher class than the previous group, elite forces rather than random patrols. The leader alone would present a significant challenge to Irina. You should leave, he advised the angel quietly. This isn't your fight. Irina's posture stiffened. I am an emissary of heaven. I do not abandon my duty because of devil interference. The response impressed Naruto, courage and integrity rather than sensible self-preservation. Then at least understand I'm not your enemy right now, he murmured. We face a common threat. Irina hesitated, then gave a slight nod. Temporary alliance accepted. The devil woman's patience evaporated. Enough whispering. Seize them both. The devil troops surged forward in coordinated attack patterns that spoke of extensive military training. Irina launched herself toward them fearlessly, her light sword cleaving through the first attacker's defenses with precision that belied her youth. Naruto remained still, gathering natural energy from the surrounding forest. Like the senjutsu he'd wielded as a shinobi, this energy responded differently, more directly, with less need for meditation. The forest itself seemed eager to lend him strength, recognizing something in his essence that resonated with primordial forces. 3 devils broke through Irina's defensive perimeter, converging on Naruto with magic circles formed and ready. He waited until the last possible moment before releasing the gathered energy in a controlled wave that disrupted their magical constructs and sent them tumbling backward. Wind elements, acknowledge your master, he whispered. The breeze responded instantly, swirling around him before coalescing into a vaguely serpentine form, not yet a proper dragon manifestation, but a precursor. His connection to the wind domain remained too weak for full summoning. Nevertheless, the wind construct obeyed his will, expanding outward to create a defensive perimeter that sliced through devil flesh with microscopic precision. Screams erupted as attackers found themselves bleeding from countless invisible cuts. Irina glanced back in shock as the wind barrier extended to include her within its protection. What manner of magic is this? She gasped, momentarily distracted. The distraction nearly proved fatal as the devil leader materialized directly behind her, darkness gathering around her clawed hand. Naruto reacted instinctively, one hand extending as golden chains erupted from his palm, an ability from his Uzumaki heritage, adapted through his draconic essence into something more powerful. The chains wrapped around Irina. yanking her away from danger milliseconds before the devil's attack would have connected. Simultaneously, Naruto appeared where Irina had stood, catching the devil's wrist in a grip that belied his still weakened state. "Your mistress severely underestimated the situation," he stated calmly, golden light flaring in his eyes. The devil snarled, dark energy cascading around her trapped arm. "What are you? Someone you should have researched before attacking." Naruto channeled energy through his grip, golden power meeting darkness in a contest of wills. Despite his incomplete recovery, millennia of experience guided his actions. The devil's darkness fractured, then shattered entirely as golden energy invaded her magical circuits. She screamed, not in pain but in shock, as her power temporarily collapsed. Naruto released her, and she stumbled backward, wings drooping listlessly. "Impossible," she whispered. "No one can disrupt a devil's innate magic so completely." "I just did." Naruto turned to the remaining attackers, who had halted their advance after witnessing their leader's defeat. "Take her and leave. Tell your mistress that the Dragon Sage refuses her invitation." The TLE again sent ripples of recognition through the supernatural beings present. Several of the older devils paled visibly, ancient legends apparently surfacing in their memories. "Dragon Sage," Irina repeated, her light sword wavering as she processed this information. That's impossible. The Dragon Sage is a myth. A story told to young angels about the time before creation. All myths contain kernels of truth. Naruto responded, watching as the devils gathered their incapacitated leader and began a strategic withdrawal. Some more than others. Once the devils had disappeared, Irina turned to face Naruto fully. Her expression a complex mixture of awe, confusion, and lingering suspicion. "If you truly are what you claim," she faltered, then steadied herself. "The texts say, the Dragon Sage established the elemental balance before the god of the Bible shaped the human realm. That he granted dragons their fundamental powers and established the hierarchy that still influences draconic politics." "The texts aren't entirely accurate," Naruto said. "But they're closer than I expected, given how thoroughly my enemies tried to erase me from history." Irina's light sword finally dissolved as she appeared to reach a decision. "I should still take you to Michael-sama, but..." She hesitated. "You saved my life just now. That creates a debt by angelic standards." Naruto smiled gently. "I didn't act expecting repayment. Nevertheless, the debt exists." Irina straightened. "I'll report that you require time to acclimate before presenting yourself to heaven's authorities. That should buy you 3 days before more angels are dispatched." The gesture surprised and impressed Naruto. Personal integrity overriding blind obedience to authority, rare in any society, but particularly significant for an angel. "Thank you, Irina Shido. I won't forget this kindness." She nodded curtly, wings materializing in a flash of light. 3 days. After that, heaven will find you regardless of where you hide." Her expression softened slightly. "For what it's worth, your actions tonight align with what the legends say about the Dragon Sage's character. The stories claim you were just and honorable, even to those who later betrayed you." With that parting comment, she launched herself skyward, disappearing into the night. Naruto remained still until he was certain she had truly departed, then turned toward the shadows where Ophis had concealed herself. "You can emerge now." The infinite dragon god stepped from darkness that seemed reluctant to release her. "The angel shows unusual independence." "She shows integrity," Naruto corrected. "A quality I value." "She will become problematic. Heaven has its own agenda regarding draconic entities." "Perhaps." Naruto gazed in the direction Irina had departed. "Or perhaps she represents an opportunity for understanding. Not all angels would have acknowledged a life debt to a being outside their pantheon." Ophis studied him with those bottomless eyes. "You remain too trusting. It contributed to your downfall before." The observation struck uncomfortably close to freshly remembered pain. Images flashed through Naruto's mind. Trusted advisors sealing away his power while dragons he'd considered friends turned against him. Betrayal on a cosmic scale. "Trust with verification isn't weakness," he countered. "Isolation breeds paranoia, and paranoia leads to poor decisions." "Philosophical differences remain between us," Ophis noted without emotion. "Unsurprising, given our different origins." Naruto shifted topics. "I need a secure location to continue my recovery." Somewhere with strong natural energy I can use to accelerate the process. The mountain north of this town contains a nexus point. Weak by ancient standards, but sufficient for your current needs. Will you guide me there? Ophis considered the request. My interests align with your recovery, for now. I will show you the path. As they prepared to depart, Naruto cast one final glance at the clearing where he'd awakened. The seal that had imprisoned him for millennia was broken beyond repair, but echoes of its power lingered in the ambient energy. His enemies had been thorough, designing a prison that should have contained him forever. Their mistake had been underestimating his fundamental nature, not just as the dragon sage who commanded elemental forces, but as Naruto Uzumaki, the one who never gave up, regardless of the odds. Let's go, he said to Ophis. I have much to relearn about this world. The infinite dragon god nodded, and together they vanished into the night, leaving only disturbed foliage and residual energy signatures to mark their passage. Above the clearing, perched on a branch so high it swayed in the gentle night breeze, a small figure observed their departure. Unlike the devils or the angel, this watcher had concealed her presence completely, even from beings of cosmic awareness like Ophis and Naruto. Tiamat, the Chaos Karma Dragon, maintained her human form as her ancient eyes tracked the dragon sage's departure. Emotions warred within her: rage, sorrow, hope, and something deeper. Had burned steadily through millennia of waiting. So you've returned at last, she whispered to the empty air. After all this time, she clenched her fist as scales briefly rippled across her human skin, blue and perfect as the deepest ocean. The forest around her responded to her agitation, temperature dropping as water elements stirred in recognition of their secondary master. Did you remember your promise, I wonder? Tiamat's voice carried the weight of ancient grief. Or did the seal take that from you as well? No answer came save the rustling of leaves in the night breeze. Tiamat remained motionless for several more minutes before she too departed, vanishing in a shimmer of blue light that left behind the scent of ocean depths and forgotten storms. The forest clearing, fly the nexus of cosmic forces and awakened legends, settled back into apparent normalcy. But the natural world remembered what had transpired. Trees whispered to earth, earth murmured to water, water sang to fire, and fire shouted to wind. The elemental domains stirred for the first time in millennia. The dragon sage had returned, and nothing would remain the same. In the mountains north of Kuo town, a cave mouth yawned like a wound in the ancient stone. Inside, protected by natural barriers and subtle energies that discouraged exploration, Naruto sat cross-legged on a stone dais. Golden light pulsed around him in rhythm with his breathing as he drew natural energy into his still recovering system. Ophis watched from the shadow of a stalactite, her childlike form perfectly still. Hours had passed in silence as Naruto meditated, seeking to reconcile his fragmented memories and assess his current capabilities. Finally, his eyes opened, brilliant blue rather than draconic gold. This nexus point has been used before, he observed. Recently, the vanishing dragon visited here 6 months ago, Ophis confirmed. He sought to understand his origin. Albion. Another memory surfaced. One of the heavenly dragons. I remember creating the balance between his white dragon energy and Didrake's red dragon power. Naruto frowned. They should never have become rivals. Their energies were designed to complement, not oppose. Much changed in your absence. The dragon hierarchies collapsed without their architect. New powers emerged. Ancient ones faded or transformed. Ophis tilted her head. Some sought to fill the void you left. None succeeded completely. Naruto stood, his movements more fluid than before. The meditation had accelerated his recovery, though he remained far from his original power. I sense 8 major dragon entities in this world currently. Is that accurate? 9 including myself, Ophis corrected. Great Red, the 2 heavenly dragons, the 5 dragon kings, and you. Though your signature remains faint enough that most cannot detect your presence. The 5 kings, Naruto murmured, accessing more recovered knowledge. Tiamat remains, then. She survived the cataclysm. A flicker of something, not quite emotion, crossed Ophis's face. The Chaos Karma Dragon endured. She rules the ocean still, though she rarely emerges. Some say grief made her reclusive. Naruto turned away, a complex emotion tightening his chest. Images of sapphire scales and eyes like tropical seas flashed through his mind. A promise made beneath twin moons. A betrayal not of his making. I need to speak with her, he said quietly. Unwise in your current state. Tiamat's rage toward Dragonkind is legendary. Her specific feelings toward you remain unclear. Naruto nodded reluctantly. Rushing into a confrontation with one of the most powerful dragons still active in the world would be foolish, regardless of their past connection. What of the human world? How do supernatural entities interact with them now? A delicate balance, Ophis explained. The three factions, angels, fallen angels, and devils, maintain a fragile peace after millennia of conflict. Humans remain largely unaware of supernatural existence, though some are recruited into various factions. Other pantheons and yokai maintain their territories with limited interaction. And Kuo Town, why is there such a concentration of power in one small area? Devil territory currently, administered by the Sisters of Lucifer and Leviathan. A neutral zone established for Aspecia. Lizd Academy that educates young supernatural entities alongside oblivious humans. Naruto absorbed this information, fitting it into his gradually expanding understanding of the current world order. So much had changed. Pantheons risen and fallen, boundaries redrawn, powers redistributed. I'll need identification documents, he mused. A cover identity to move freely while I continue investigating. Ophis made a dismissive gesture. Such mundane concerns are beneath your station. Perhaps the dragon sage could ignore human conventions, Naruto countered. But until I fully recover, discretion serves better than arrogance. A memory surfaced from his human life. Shadow clones gathering information across vast territories, infiltration techniques learned from Jiraiya, diplomatic skills honed as Hokage. Those experiences would serve him well in this new context. I need to establish multiple information sources, he continued, thinking aloud. Academic for historical context, supernatural for current power dynamics, human for understanding how society functions now. The school, Ophis suggested unexpectedly. Kuo Academy serves as a nexus for all three categories. Naruto considered this. Attending as a student would provide excellent cover and information access. Your physical appearance would allow it. You manifest as approximately 18 human years. Looking down at himself, Naruto realized she was right. His current form appeared youthful, a strange amalgamation of his late-teen shinobi self and his draconic essence. The tattered robes from his Awakenin Ji had transformed during meditation into more conventional clothing, jeans and a simple orange t-shirt that approximated his preferred color from his human life. I'll need lodging, documentation, and resources, he murmured. And more information about this academy before approaching it. Ophis stepped forward, reaching into a space that wasn't quite aligned with normal reality. She withdrew a small object that gleamed with subtle power. A ring crafted from material that resembled obsidian but contained shifting galaxies within its depths. The Ring of the Ouroboros, she stated, offering it to Naruto. It will provide necessary resources in human terms. Wealth, documentation, accommodations. My followers will facilitate the practical aspects. Naruto hesitated before accepting the ring. Why help me so directly? What do you gain? Ophis's expression remained impassive, but something ancient stirred in those bottomless eyes. The current world order is unsatisfactory. Great Red occupies the dimensional gap that should be mine. The three factions squabble over scraps of power while ignorant of true cosmic forces. The dragon hierarchies have become corrupted beyond recognition. And you believe my return changes this equation. You are a variable outside their calculations. An existence they believed erased from possibility. Ophis's lips curved in the slightest suggestion of a smile. Chaos often precedes necessary correction. Naruto slipped the ring onto his finger, feeling its power integrate with his own, not controlling or invasive, but supportive. The gesture represented a significant alliance, one that would have far-reaching consequences. I accept your assistance, he said formally, without binding myself to any specific course of action. Ophis nodded once, the agreement sealed. Dawn approaches. You should establish your human identity before the academy's new term begins. Naruto glanced toward the cave entrance, where the first hints of morning light had begun to penetrate. A new day in a world both familiar and utterly changed. One last question, he said as Ophis prepared to depart. The angel, Irina Shido. What's her significance in the current hierarchy? Michael's ace and a wielder of Excalibur fragments. Young but respected, her friendship with the current Red Dragon Emperor makes her politically valuable beyond her power level. Interesting. Connections to both Heaven's leadership and one of the heavenly dragons positioned Irina at a unique intersection of power dynamics. Their brief interaction suggested integrity and courage beyond her apparent youth. Someone worth knowing better. Thank you for this information and assistance, Naruto said formally. I won't forget it. Ophis merely inclined her head before stepping backward into a dimensional rift that sealed seamlessly behind her. The dramatic exit prompted a small smile from Naruto. Some things about draconic entities remained consistent across millennia. Left alone in the cave, Naruto moved to the entrance, watching as sunlight gradually illuminated the valley below. Kuo Town spread across the landscape, a blend of traditional architecture and modern development that symbolized the world's evolution during his imprisonment. His hands formed a familiar seal, the cross-shaped configuration that had been his signature technique as a shinobi. Shadow Clone Jutsu. The technique worked, but differently than before. Instead of multiple identical copies appearing in puffs of smoke, a single perfect duplicate materialized beside him, formed Ram golden light that solidified into physical form. Interesting, Naruto murmured, examining the clone. The technique adapted to my draconic energy. The clone nodded. I feel different too. More stable. I could probably maintain existence for days rather than hours. Perfect for reconnaissance. Explore the town. Learn the basics. Geography, economics, politics, local supernatural hotspots. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary. And if I encounter the angel again? Naruto considered this possibility. Be respectful but maintain distance. She granted us 3 days. Let's not test her patience before then. The clone nodded before descending the mountain path toward Kuo Town. Naruto remained at the cave entrance, continuing his meditation as the sun rose fully above the horizon. Each hour brought more memory fragments into alignment, more aspects of his power returning to functionality. By midday, he had established a tentative timeline of his existence. First, the Primo RDIAL era, when he had emerged from cosmic forces as the Dragon Sage, the entity who gave form and purpose to draconic energy and established the elemental domains. Then, the long age of draconic prosperity under his guidance, establishing hierarchies, territories, and cosmic laws. Followed by the Betrayal, a coalition of younger dragons and jealous deities from emerging pantheons who sealed his essence and scattered his consciousness across dimensions. Finally, his incarnation as Naruto Uzumaki in the Elemental Nations, a fragment of his true self living a human life while his greater essence remained imprisoned. The final memory remained frustratingly incomplete. How had the seal broken? What catalyst had allowed his freedom after millennia of containment? Something significant must have disrupted the cosmic balance to create the opportunity for his awakening. A distant roar interrupted his thoughts. Not physical but metaphysical, a draconic challenge that rippled through the natural energy of the mountain. Naruto's head snapped up, instantly alert. The signature was unmistakable. Tiamat had found him. Rising quickly, Naruto assessed his options. Confrontation seemed inevitable, but the timing was problematic. His power remained incomplete, his memories fragmented. The Chaos Karma Dragon would be at full strength, her legendary temper potentially lethal. Yet running would resolve nothing. And if their past connection meant anything, he owed her the dignity of facing her directly. Decision made, Naruto stepped out of the cave onto a narrow ledge that overlooked the valley. He gathered natural energy, allowing his draconic aspects to surface more prominently, golden scales shimmering beneath his skin, eyes shifting to vertical pupils, presence expanding beyond physical limitations. I know you're there, Tiamat, he called, voice carrying through dimensions rather than mere physical space. Show yourself. The sky darkened as clouds gathered with unnatural speed. Lightning flashed, blue rather than yellow, as rain began to fall in sheets that defied meteorological explanation. The storm centered directly above Naruto's position, a manifestation of elemental rage. From the heart of the tempest descended a figure that grew more massive with each passing second. Sapphire scales gleamed despite the absence of sunlight, wings spanning hundreds of feet from tip to tip. A dragon of such perfect form and overwhelming presence that even other dragon kings would tremble. Tiamat, Chaos Karma Dragon, mistress of ocean depths and primordial waters, regarded Naruto. Oh, with eyes that contained tidal forces capable of destroying continents. Dragon Sage, she rumbled, her voice causing the mountain itself to vibrate. Or should I call you Naruto Uzumaki now? The human name you've adopted seems so inadequate. Naruto stood his ground despite the overwhelming pressure of her presence. Either name belongs to me, as you well know, Tiamat. Do I? She circled the mountain peak, her massive form blocking out the sky. Do I truly know you anymore? After 5,000 years of absence? After your promise remained unfulfilled while I endured alone? The ACC. Sation struck deeper than Naruto expected. Another memory surfaced, standing before a younger Tiamat as continents burned around them. A vow spoken with absolute conviction. I will return to you. No matter what happens, no matter how long it takes. This I swear on my essence as the Dragon Sage. I was imprisoned, he said quietly. The seal was designed to be eternal. Tiamat roared, wait. Are dragons manifesting around her in spiraling patterns of destructive potential? Yet here you stand, free at last, millennia too late. She descended further, her size diminishing as she approached, until she hovered just 30 feet above him in a form merely 3 times human scale. This close, Naruto could see the emotions warring in her ancient eyes, rage certainly, but beneath it lay oceans of sorrow and something else. Something that had sustained her through ages of solitude. I never forgot you, Naruto stated simply. Even sealed, even with my consciousness fragmented and memories scattered, something of you remained with me. Tiamat's expression flickered. Pretty words from the silver-tongued dragon sage. You always had a gift for telling others exactly what they needed to hear. Not manipulation, truth. Naruto took a step forward despite the danger. I remember our promise, Tiamat. I remember what we meant to each other before the betrayal. Then you remember it was your trust in the council that led to your downfall. Water swirled around her with increasing violence. I warned you they coveted your position. I warned you they resented your authority. Yet you welcomed them with open arms, believing the best of creatures fundamentally incapable of your nobility. Another memory clicked into place. Tiamat standing before the Dragon Council, alone among the great worms in opposing their plan. Her subsequent exile to the deepest oceans as punishment for her loyalty to him. You stood with me, Naruto whispered, when all others turned away. And what reward did my loyalty earn? Tiamat's voice dropped dangerously. Millennia of watching lesser beings squabble over the remnants of your legacy. Centuries of searching for any fragment of your essence. Decades of fighting those who sought to erase even the memory of your existence from draconic history. Her form shimmered, water cascading around her until she stood before him in humanoid form, a woman. Of impossible beauty with sapphire hair that moved like ocean waves and eyes that contained depths no human could fathom. And now you return, she continued, voice softer but no less intense, not because you overcame the seal through your own power, but because external forces weakened it enough for your escape. Not because you fought your way back to me as promised, but because circumstance allowed it. Naruto felt the truth in her accusation. He hadn't broken free through his own efforts. Something external had damaged the seal enough to create an opportunity. His promise, while sincere, had ultimately been fulfilled through luck rather than determination. You're right, he acknowledged, surprising her. I failed to return through my own strength. The seal proved too powerful, the conspirators too thorough. He met her gaze directly. But I'm here now, and I remember what we were to each other. Tiamat's expression hardened. What we were is ancient history. I am no longer he naive dragon who believed in your vision of harmony between elements. The oceans have grown cold in your absence, dragon sage. Yet you sought me out immediately upon sensing my return, Naruto observed quietly. Not to kill me, or you would have struck while I meditated, vulnerable during recovery. You came to see for yourself. To confirm what you sensed was true. Water swirled around Tiamat's humanoid form as her control wavered. For a moment, genuine anguish broke through her carefully maintained rage. 5,000 years, Naruto. Do you comprehend what that means to a being like me? Watching civilizations rise and fall. Witnessing the god of the Bible's ascension and death. Enduring Great Red's dominance of dimensional spaces. All while searching for any trace of you. Naruto stepped forward again, now within arm's reach of the volatile dragon. I can never recover those millennia, Tiamat. I can never undo the suffering my absence caused you. He extended his hand, palm a gesture of tremendous vulnerability before a being who could obliterate him in his weakened state. But I can honor our promise from this moment forward, if you'll allow it. Tiamat stared at his outstretched hand, conflict evident in her expression. The mountain trembled beneath them as her power fluctuated with her emotions. You're still incomplete, she finally said, ignoring his gesture. Your essence remains fragmented. I sense the human vessel's memories competing with your true nature. Yes, Naruto acknowledged. The recovery will take time. The seal's designers were thorough in their attempt to erase me from existence. The conspiracy extended beyond the Dragon Council, Tiamat revealed unexpectedly. Several pantheons contributed to your imprisonment, fearing what you represented. This confirmed suspicions that had formed as Naruto's memories reassembled. The Egyptian sun deities, the Norse Aesir, the Greco-Roman storm gods, all contributed their unique sealing methods. Tiamat nodded. Along with entities now forgotten by history. Some sacrificed their entire existence to ensure your permanent removal from the cosmic equation. And yet I've returned, Naruto said softly. Perhaps not as the all-powerful dragon sage they feared, but as something different. A synthesis of divine dragon and human experience. Tiamat studied him with those ancient eyes, seeing beyond physical appearance to the complex amalgamation of energies that constituted his being. The human incarnation changed you. I sense compassion where once there was only cosmic justice. Empathy where once there was detached wisdom. Is that necessarily a weakness? Perhaps not, she conceded reluctantly. Though it makes you vulnerable in ways you weren't before. A comfort A.B. La silence fell between them, the first moment without tension since her arrival. Around them, the unnatural storm gradually dissipated, allowing sunlight to break through once more. What happens now? Tiamat finally asked. Will you reclaim your position as Dragon Sage? Demand fealty from dragons who have forgotten your existence. Punish those descended from your betrayers. The questions cut to the heart of Naruto's current dilemma. What was his purpose in this new world? What did he want to accomplish with his freedom? I don't know yet, he admitted honestly. My memories remain incomplete. My powers are still recovering. I need to understand this world better before deciding my role within it. He looked at her directly. But I know I don't want conflict with you, Tiamat. Whatever else has changed, that remains constant. Quote. Tiamat's expression softened marginally. Pretty words again, yet actions will reveal your true intentions. She stepped back, water gathering around her form. I will neither help nor hinder you for now. Consider it a grace period while you re-establish yourself. And after this grace period, her lips curved in a smile that contained equal parts promise and threat. Then we shall see if the dragon sage who emerged from that seal is truly the one who made me a promise beneath twin moons. Before Naruto could respond, Tiamat dissolved into a cascade of water that plummeted off the mountain ledge, reforming into her draconic form midair before disappearing into a dimensional rift that closed behind her. The dramatic exit left Naruto both amused and contemplative. Some aspects of draconic behavior never changed, regardless of the millennia that passed. Tiamat had always favored theatrical departures, even in the ancient days when they'd ruled the elemental domains together. More importantly, their confrontation had unlocked additional memories, personal rather than cosmic. Emotions and connections that the seal's designers couldn't fully eradicate despite their best efforts. The relationship between Dragon Sage and Chaos Karma Dragon had transcended professional alliance, becoming something both considered precious. His clone's return interrupted these reflections. The duplicate appeared beside him, dispersing into golden light that flowed back into Naruto's consciousness, bringing with it all information gathered during its exploration of Kuo Town. The download was comprehensive. Street layouts, business operations, social dynamics, and most importantly, supernatural hotspots carefully concealed from human awareness. The T-One contained significantly more paranormal activity than its size would suggest, confirming its importance as a nexus point between various factions. Of particular interest was Kuo Academy, which served as both prestigious human educational institution and gathering place for young supernatural entities. The clone had observed several devils entering the campus, their auras masked but still detectable to draconic senses. The school would indeed provide excellent cover for information gathering. Another piece of intelligence proved particularly valuable: a recently vacated apartment near the academy, previously occupied by a supernatural entity who had departed abruptly. The residual energy would help mask Naruto's own unique signature while he continued recovering. Perfect, Naruto murmured, formulating his plan. With Ophis's ring providing necessary resources and documentation, establishing his cover identity should proceed smoothly. By the time Heaven's 3-day grace period expired, he would be positioned to gather information while appearing to be nothing more than a transfer student. The sun began its descent toward the western horizon as Naruto left the mountain cave, making his way toward Kuo town with purpose in his stride. The first day of his return to the world was ending. Whatever challenges tomorrow might bring, he would face them as he always had, with determination, adaptability, and the unique perspective of someone who had lived as both human shinobi and dragon deity. The dragon sage had awakened, and the world, whether it remembered him or not, would never be the same. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, Echoes of Divinity. Dawn broke over Kuo town with tentative fingers of light that seemed reluctant to dispel the lingering darkness. Naruto stood on the balcony of his newly acquired apartment, observing the gradual awakening of the human settlement below. The modest dwelling occupied the top floor of a 3-story building, strategically positioned with clear sight lines to both Kuo Academy and the town's central park, a nexus point for supernatural energies that his draconic senses could detect even at this distance. The Ring of Ouroboros had performed exactly as Ophis promised. Within hours of leaving the mountain, Naruto found himself in possession of impeccable documentation, financial resources, and this apartment still bearing UAL energy signatures from its previous supernatural occupant. The dwelling itself was Spartan but functional, a perfect base of operations while he continued his recovery and investigation. Behind him, scattered across a low table, lay various materials about Kuo Academy, enrollment procedures, course catalogs, campus maps, and a student handbook outlining expectations and regulations. Naruto had spent much of the night studying these documents, evaluating the best approach to infiltrate what seemed to be the supernatural community's educational nucleus. A subtle shift in the ambient energy caught his attention. Without turning, he addressed the seemingly empty air behind him. "You've returned sooner than expected." Reality rippled as Ophis stepped through a dimensional fold, her child-like form materializing silently on the apartment balcony. "Circumstances have accelerated," she stated without preamble. "Your awakening has not gone unnoticed by entities beyond the 3 factions." Naruto turned, studying her expression. Even for the typically impassive infinite dragon god, something in her bearing suggested urgency. "Which entities?" "Norse observers have increased activity in this region. The Hindu pantheon has dispatched watchers. Several elder yokai have abandoned territorial disputes to focus attention here." Ophis tilted her head slightly. "Your energy signature grows more distinct as you recover. Those with ancient memories or access to forbidden records begin to recognize the pattern." Naruto absorbed this information with a thoughtful nod. "Expected, though perhaps sooner than ideal. Have any made direct moves?" "Not yet. Most remain uncertain, sensing an impossibility rather than a confirmed threat." Ophis moved to stand beside him at the balcony rail, her diminutive form incongruous next to his taller stature. "The 3 factions remain oblivious to your true identity. They sense only an anomaly, powerful but unclassified. And Heaven, has Irina Shido reported our encounter?" "Partially. She informed her superior, the Archangel Michael, of meeting an unidentified entity of significant power who requested temporary autonomy. She omitted your claim to be the dragon sage." This surprised Naruto. The angel had demonstrated integrity in acknowledging the life debt, but concealing information from Heaven's leadership represented a significantly greater risk. "Interesting. I wouldn't have expected such discretion from an angel." Ophis turned those bottomless eyes toward him. "The angel's behavior patterns show irregularities worth monitoring. Her recorded history indicates strict adherence to hierarchical authority, yet she has demonstrated unexpected independence regarding you. People are rarely as simple as their official records suggest," Naruto observed, remembering countless instances from his time as Hokage when individuals had surprised him, sometimes pleasantly, sometimes disastrously. Before Ophis could respond, a flicker of energy from the street below caught Naruto's attention. His enhanced vision easily identified a familiar figure moving with purpose toward his building, chestnut hair tied in twintails, wearing casual weekend clothing rather than her exorcist uniform, but unmistakably Irina Shido. The end. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.